got a large area Cat 3 going to high Cat 3. It might make Cat 4. And the winds on the ground are just absolutely insane. The cloud elements within the eye here. Good afternoon. This is another update from the Gulf Coast of Texas. We're in between Rockport and Fulton, and this area kind of right here on the outer banks, starting to get some tree debris starting to come down. Some of the palm trees starting to fall in some of the streets, and you can see the debris. The winds have been gusting here probably closer to 50 now. Storm surge continues to increase with the water's up 2 feet based off the buoys. We just had a buoy report from 42020. Which is just southeast of Corpus here. Winds gusting, pretty high, 90, and then in the water, we have wave heights of 22 feet, and pressure is falling rapidly down to almost 905. It's dropping pretty rapidly now on that buoy. Anyway, the winds are dramatically picking up, continue to deteriorate rapidly now along the coastline here, and they're reporting gusts 50-55 near Corpus and just to the east of Corpus. You can see the trees are swaying pretty heavily now. The waves are dramatically picked up here, right here on the intercoastal area, in the Rockport, Fulton area. And okay, let me show you. This is what's going on. Let me turn our car around here. Look at this. It's pretty nasty outside. Bear with me. The wind's gonna blow like crazy. I'm gonna go outside here real quick and let's go look at this. Water. You got water already coming up, and you can see what's going on here. This is intercoastal. You got the boardwalks are starting to break apart now. You got boards breaking off the boardwalk here. These are starting to come apart. And this is the water coming on the back of the houses now. It's starting to come up over the boardwalk. Rises about another foot or two, and we'll start getting water surging over the up to the road where the car is. This is only about a 2-foot rise. It's not very much. You can see the water here is it's splashing on shore. The waves are just getting larger and larger and larger, and very, very rough waters here. And this is again on the Fulton and Rockport area, and the hurricane's is tracking just to our potentially the center's going to track just to our west, very close to us. As we get core 10 to midnight, I've got a winds now gusting to almost 140, 137 offshore, just above the surface. So I think it's a 3. It's definitely a 3, category 3 now. Just waiting for the official word from the Hurricane Hunter and the observations from the NOAA planes that confirm it. But based off the Doppler radar from Corpus, we've got a Cat 3, about 60 miles offshore now. About 6 more hours, roughly 6 to 7 hours before the northern eye wall is going to hit the Fulton, east of Corpus Christi, Pearland, this area right in through here. And we're going to be under siege here by 6 p.m. Hurricane force winds gusting over 100. Look at the clouds. Look at the clouds up above. Look how that's looking back to the east, and the clouds are out of the east-southeast at probably close to 70 miles an hour based on Doppler over my head, and the winds are screaming out of the east-southeast as the eye is coming up from the southwest towards us. It's about 70 miles, and these winds are going to dramatically increase over the next 4 or 5 hours, especially as we get toward that 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock hour. That's where we're going to start having major damage here for sure. I'm getting back in the car. So anyway, it's just a real quick update what's going on. Things continue to deteriorate, and I just wanted to give you a real quick update on that, and we'll get back with you guys here shortly as more stuff happens. Thank you so much. Okay, back with you again. Still in the Fulton area and the Rockport area. In this area, the winds are now probably sustained at 50, gusting to 60, 65 now, and the winds are just screaming here now. I mean, look at the flags are bending over, and I've had debris, had a little bit of debris flying through the air just about a minute ago. Again, tree limb debris. You see the flags are bending over, and then it's starting to get in the, I call it the howl, the hurricane whistling howl sound, and you can hear, I'll be quiet, you can just listen to the roar of the wind now. And by the way, before I do that, let me show you something. This is going to be breaking. We have Hurricane Hunter is approaching the eye, and based on what I'm seeing off Doppler, again, this is not official, just based off what I'm seeing on Doppler, We have a Cat 3 now. Cat 3, in my opinion, based off Doppler, Cat 3 is in progress, and we have winds gusting to 140 to 45 miles an hour now, building on the northeast side of the eye. This area right here of winds of 145 now. This hurricane is intensifying. The eye's getting smaller. The winds are getting stronger. We've got a large area of Cat 3 going to high Cat 3. It might make Cat 4, but this hurricane is intensifying. It is ramping up. This is going to be a worst case scenario as this thing approaches a coast in 6 hours. This is absolutely going to be bad news. But we now have the hurricane hunter's going to be there. I just got a text message from one other person, and he said that the hurricane hunter's about 15 minutes out from the eye wall now. We'll have a vortex message any minute. But I'm going to say we got a Cat 3 on hand. The hurricane's intensifying, and based on everything I'm seeing right now, winds are gusting 130, 145, almost. You know, this number continues to climb here to the northeast quadrant of the eye, but a big area of 130, 120 to 135 now to the northeast of the eye, and this storm is intensifying. Hurricane Harvey is intensifying. And this area in the storm surge, the eye, it's got this outer ring, and then it's got this little inner ring trying to form. And I don't know if it's going to close off. If it completely closes off, and we can get that really tightly wrapped, it may try to run at a Cat 4. But it definitely, I think we're going to have a solid 3 coming for sure. And storm surge is going to be epic, as well as wind damage. And I'm going to go back out my window here and look at this. I mean, the flags are about to rip off the pole here. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear the whistle, the roar now. And but I'm going to say we sustained a 50, gust to 60, 65. Not quite hurricane on the coast yet, but rapidly approaching there. And the winds are continually increasing now. We're definitely going to have damaging winds from the hurricane onshore before sundown. We will definitely have hurricane damaging winds onshore before sundown. Okay, wow. Now let's take a look back at the water here. You can see the water's, what's going on with the water. It's right here behind this building. And by the way, I'm literally about 20 feet from a bridge that takes me out of this immediate danger zone to much higher ground, like within, you know, blocks. So I'm somewhat safe. Yeah, I'm in the Rockport area. Rockport in, let's give it a second here. Yeah, Rockport area. Yeah, Fulton, Rockport area. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna I think we'll stop the stream here for a second. Start another stream. We'll start the stream again. Thank you everybody for joining this afternoon, and we're gonna continuously try to stream here. We're in the Rockport, Texas area, and we're just west, and just give you a real-time update of what's happening on the roads here. Let's go to the roads now, Google Maps, and this is, look at what's happening here. This is the last hour. All the roads, of course, the Outer Barrier Islands have been closed for a while out here at Port Arnes in that area. I mean, Corpus is not too bad, but all over in this area here, Portland, over to Ingleside, Gregory, the pass here is all these areas in here, Rockport, Fulton. Look at all the roads now closing. I mean, the roads are closing all over the place. So these roads are closing. You can see here, I got red arrows popping up everywhere. They're shutting everything down. Things are probably going underwater. Just so you know, I have talked to the city of Rockport, their emergency manager, as well as the fire department there, and they are making emergency plans now. They have a special meeting at 4 o'clock. Don't know if it's gonna, I don't know if they can wait till 4, but anyway, their plan is to hold an emergency meeting at 4, and then based on that meeting, they may move or evacuate to the water tower, which has a 20-foot elevation. City Hall's at about 10-foot elevation, and based on the hurricane, looks like it's continuing to intensify. If it does get up in that higher 3, lower 4, we'll probably have to move to the water tower, and everybody's going to be moving to that location. It's the highest part of the entire area with a 20-foot elevation above ground level, and there is a high probability we're all going to be escaping to that as this thing unfolds. Here's some stuff going on roof now. This is a house under construction, just to be clear. This is a house that was under construction already, and the tarp's starting to come off of it now. This is a construction house. The roof's ripping off, and so obviously water's going to go inside the structure. It's rain, and you can see water's pouring up on the side of the house there, on the little buoy, the boardwalk there in the back, starting to come up. And here's the winds. I mean, it's getting extreme fast. Winds are probably gusting 50, 55 now. No big trees now, no major damage yet, but that's going to change dramatically as we get toward the 6 o'clock hour. 6 o'clock hour to midnight, 6 p.m. local Central Time to midnight. We expect moderate, maybe heavy, heavy damage at that time. That's when the peak winds start coming in. That's when I expect power lines to go down, trees to go down, possibly roofs coming off structures. Storm surge is going to be coming in with a vengeance in that 4 to 9 o'clock time frame as that eye approaches that northeast eye wall, and it is very, very vicious now. Let me look at something here. Go back to Doppler. I'm keeping my eye on and waiting for a vortex message from the hurricane hunter. Here we go. We got 2 water spouts coming in. We're gonna make that tornado across the shoreline here. Stand by. Or water spout across the shoreline, technically. Okay, here we go. Let's show you where we're at here. Here's where I'm at. Here's my location. You can see where I'm at here. Let's get this off. This is where I'm at here. This is in the Rockport area. Okay, and let's go back out. And I've got a circulation. We've got a developing possible water spout tornado developing right here. That's going to go very close to me and probably just north of me, about 3 to 4 miles. I got another developing water spout possible tornado as it comes on shore. Obviously, it's a water spout right now. I got twin water spouts now. One's going to go just south of Rockport, and the other one's going to go possibly just north of Rockport. But here we go. We're going to start spinning up twisters now and water spouts, and as well as go we got multiple water spouts coming in. Yep. Yeah, that's very, very, very strong signatures now. Probably have 2 water spouts. I'm going to go ahead and call it that. Right there's a water spout. We'll have if it continues, we'll have a tornado water spout coming on shore. Matter of fact, this looks so good right now, I may run up the road there a little bit and see if I can see it as it comes on shore. I don't know if I'll be able to see it or not, but might be able to see this water spout as it crosses. It's very close to me. It's not very far as it comes on shore here. And see how far it's going to be just north of me here, just north of Fulton. It's about 8 miles, roughly about 8 miles north of me, roughly, is where it's tracking. And there's a water spout there coming on shore, another one south of me that's going to go just south of me about 2 to 3 miles, and these are not very far now offshore. Looks like that one's about 20, roughly 20. This one's rapidly increased. So we just talked about. Look at this guy now. I definitely would call this a very significant water spout now in progress on the storm that's going to be just to the southeast of Rockport. And this storm is it's off to my southeast about 23 miles roughly, and this one is definitely producing a water spout that's going to track up toward to the back to the north up the coast from Rockport, probably about 8-9 miles. And see what spotter's up there. That's Bob Peck's up there. So he's another chaser. No, so Bob's up here. He may get in the path of this water spout as it comes ashore. So that's definitely water spouts are spinning up. That's something we got to watch for. Let's go back down here to the eye of the hurricane and let's look at what's happening down here. This continues to. I have very extreme concerns now with the eye, and just look at the and continue to intensify. It looks like we're getting. It is closing off, trying to close off a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller. Let's see what the bigger picture looks like here. You go back to reflectivity. Yeah, it's still not too bad, but you can see it's still got let's measure the eye diameter here. It probably looks like about 9-10 miles. It shows 15, 20, but then you've got this little inner guy right here, just a real small little inner eye. It's not totally closed off, but he's trying. This back wall is trying to close off to like that, and if that happens or it gets close, it's trying to. And if you watch that inner eye, it's got like a double eye wash structure now, and we'll see which way this thing is what it's going to do here. But you can see that the cloud elements within the eye here are rapidly moving around the eye wall, which is, this is going to be the very destructive winds as this eye approaches land, which is going to be around the 5 to 9 o'clock time frame. This is where we're going to have major damage when this whole mess of this damaging wind comes ashore. It's not that far away now from the coastline. It's actually probably even from our location, where it's going to be about 60 miles. And if you go down a little bit farther south of me, it's probably more in the 50-mile just from the eye wall. So we're about 5 hours to 6 hours away from the eye wall making land. And again, we'll go back to velocity levels based off the Corpus Doppler and look at where the winds, just so you know, this is the winds blowing offshore. That's the northwest wind going out to sea. This is the inbound winds coming in toward land, and this is where the storm surge is going to be associated with this big surge of high wind. This is where the storm surge is going to be coming this direction over the next 2 to 5 hours. And gosh, I got waves now topping the road behind me. Just looked over my shoulder, and it's just all about a 15-foot wave. And I'll show you that in a second. So as I turn around here, let's look at this wind. I got winds, you know, off Doppler, you know, we're 140, 137, 140. This area of 140, 100, you know, 42, 43 mile an hour winds. There's this pocket of 135, 140, big area of 125 to 130 in this northeast quadrant of the eye. That continues to track off to the northwest there, kind of northwest, and it's got probably the eye right now. It looks like it may come in just east of Corpus, like the Hurricane Center is forecasting, and it looks like it's probably, this is a close proximity, something like that. It might come in more like that, but you get the idea. And when these high winds here of 80 to 100 to 120 miles an hour comes ashore, which won't be that long now. We have like even 80 mile an hour winds. I have hurricane force winds. There's 96 mile an hour winds now within very close to shore, not very far away now. It's just off to my east now, 15 miles. I have 95 mile an hour winds. Again, just above the surface, is not at the surface, just above the surface. So it's just showing you these high winds are coming ashore. And of course, this is with the circulation. We have twin, possibly water spouts in progress now off to both to my southeast and southwest. These are rapidly moving to the west at about, let's see what the track is here. We're probably west at 51 knots, just under 60 miles an hour. They are flying. They are moving. They're going to be here in about just a few minutes, actually, probably in about less than about 10 minutes, not very far. So they're moving about almost, not quite a mile, about a mile a minute, almost 60 miles an hour. So they're moving just about a mile a minute. So that's pretty intense. So here comes the big trouble down here, and I'm still waiting for a vortex message to come in. I'll have that here shortly. And from the hurricane hunters, go back out, look at my waves outside here. You can see what's going on right behind me. The waves continue to build, and the water continues to get higher, and the winds are not real high right now, probably sustained at 30, not as high as they were a while ago. It comes in waves as you get rain squalls come in, the heavier storms, as it's precip, that rain brings those higher winds to the ground and it mixes down, and that's when you get those big bursts of 70, 100 mile an hour winds. This whole area right here is going to have a pretty intense storm surge right in this area right now. Just telling you, this is where the worst is going to be. It's right in this area. It's going to be from this bridge, this inland. It's going to be the Rockport area, and then that water, as it comes surging in, and obviously the outer barrier islands here, and as that water surges in, this back bay here, bayside, the back bay, this area back here is going to have deep water back here, probably upwards of 8, 10 feet, maybe 12. So this whole thing's going to fill up here. This water is going to come like a wave through here as the storm surges inland as we get closer to 5, 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Here, let me see. Well, I don't have the hurricane message, but we'll get back with you guys here shortly as things continue to get worse here on the Texas Gulf Coast. Thank you so much.